All right. So this is happening right before our eyes on this 8th day of October 2024. Good morning. Welcome to Good Morning Kenya. My name is Victor Olo. How are you doing?
A week after the country transitioned to the social...
All right. There we go. Sawa. Welcome back. So now we are having this discussion, and welcome to the program. Talk to us which part of the country or even outside the country you're watching it from. The country has been facing a lot of political heat in the recent weeks, and yesterday was just but a climax of what is purported to be one of the heated political processes in the Kenyan history. At exactly 9:17 p.m., the tellers gave their results. Nays were 44, ayes were 281 with one abstention. Now, at exactly 9:18 p.m., the Speaker of the National Assembly, that is Moses Wetangula, also gave the results declaring that the Deputy President, Rigathi Geoffrey Gachagua, was impeached. The next move is with the Senate. I'll be having that discussion on the Viewpoint. I've got Crispus Othimba, who is a governance and political analyst, Lucy Moria, who is also a political and governance expert, as well as Francis Mongange, who is a deputy governor of Machakos. I really want to get his voice on what is in the seat of the deputies. I want to get that from him. Does he have a definite role as a deputy governor? And what is this with the seat of the deputies? Stick around for that, coming up at exactly 7. Vivian, history right before our eyes.
Yeah, unprecedented times for sure. We are living in unprecedented times. This is the first of its kind to ever happen in the country. So this is something that I am sure everyone has eyes on. Now this is moving to the Senate, and we all just are waiting to see how that pans out. Are they going to save the deputy president? Are they going to also impeach him? And when that seat probably is deemed to be vacant, then what? And who's next? Those are some of the questions that Kenyans are having. And one, you need to keep it right here, KBC, because we will definitely be following all that up for you. Now, tomorrow will be Mazingira Day, and we know that Kenya has a mission of planting about 15 billion trees by the year 2032. So I hope that you take it upon yourself when tomorrow comes and you have an opportunity to plant at least a tree. Go ahead and do that. My name is Vivian Degwa. Welcome to the show. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning, Vivian. And as you and Victor have alluded to, yesterday was one of the firsts that we've had in this country, where we had the deputy president being impeached by the National Assembly. The shift now goes to the Senate to see how it handles this matter. They may require, or they may appoint a special committee based on how they see it to scrutinize the accusations leveled against the deputy president, and which will later report in 10 days. And these proceedings will determine the outcome of this whole process. Should the Senate declare him impeached or uphold the impeachment by the National Assembly, the deputy president will cease to hold office. Of course, this is going to be an interesting time, and also it proves that systems within the country can work based on the requirements of the Constitution. So that is going to be an interesting time in the political landscape of this country. Welcome to the program. My name is Mike Migo. Remember, you can be part of this very important conversation. You can send us a text via our social media platforms at KBC Channel 1 and also on our website, that is at www.kbc.co.ke. Ray, what did you make of yesterday's proceedings?
Wow. Good morning to you, team. Well, yesterday from 9 a.m. all the way to 9 p.m., we all glued to television sets on either mainstream or even, mainstream media, so to speak. And so much came out. And this is entirely my opinion, I am a tad disappointed. First of all, the Speaker of the National Assembly, because it seemed as if the role of the National Assembly took a very political turn. And I know tyranny of numbers, we have seen it before, but I expected much more from the Speaker. And this is why some allegations were actually made that were not substantiated at the floor of the House. There was allegations of name calling. There were allegations of even corruption, where documentation was actually required, and he let that fly. What we know is that the National Assembly, Mike, is supposed to be a house of facts. But unfortunately, we saw the lack of verifiability on some aspects. I'm not saying the whole entire process was skewed. I'm just saying I expected a little bit more from the Speaker in handling the conversations that are taking place at the floor of the House in as far as the National Assembly is concerned. Quite some words are flying left, right, and center, including bottles. I don't know if you saw that. There was a bottle thrown at another member of parliament, and quickly there was a denial of the same. Yet those who are watching, like myself and other members of the public, saw actually that I expected the Speaker to actually have that said particular member of parliament thrown out of parliament for misconduct. But that did not happen. But that being the case, we had a verdict at 9 p.m. and Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua stands impeached by the National Assembly. And that now the Speaker, that is the Speaker of the National Assembly, has until at least 48 hours to notify his counterpart at the Senate, that is Amason Kingi, on the developments of what happened yesterday at the floor of the House. Following that, after Senate, if the Deputy President, indeed, Senate pronounces that he's impeached, what options does the Deputy President have? And that's a question I'm sure Victor is going to be handling as he tackles the panel. Now, I also want to now throw a question to you guys. What do you think are the lessons that Kenyans have learned from this whole process thus far? We start off with you, Victor. Looking at when we were starting early this year, there was a conversation, especially after the elections, is that civic education is required to the public. Now, with the turn of events in this particular impeachment motion, do you think we have learned more as a public when it comes to matters of, civic rights and processes here and there? What's your take?
Yes, I think Kenyans are becoming more and more enlightened on matters law and their rights. I think this one is becoming more apparent in matters, politics, and even governance of this country. Remember when the Gen Z went to the streets, we can all attest to the fact that not even us would imagine that the young generation who went to the streets would, in that particular point, quote some clauses in the Constitution. It also goes without saying that the 2010 Constitution is one of the living documents that we have currently. And I believe, and I still ask every Kenyan, that if you have a time to look at some of the clauses that protect you as a citizen or as a voter, then do so. Now, when you talk about public participation, Kenyans have also realized that power actually belongs to them. And the only thing that they can do to the politicians is to keep them in check. Come 2027 or any electoral cycle, politicians will be now very wary in terms of what they'll be selling to the people, hope, or propaganda in terms of the agenda to Wanjiku. Because now, Wanjiku will come back and ask you, when I gave you 5 years to deliver, what did you do? This is the Constitution. Tell me what you did when I hired you for 5 years. So I think Kenyans are becoming more and more enlightened in matters civic education and constitutionality of this country. Yeah.
Now, from Victor, let's go to Vivian. Public participation, because this is something that was highly mentioned in yesterday's, debate and such. And we saw the report that was tabled there that opened up the conversation when it comes to the debate on whether to impeach the deputy president or not. Numbers were mentioned there that this county voted this in regard to matters of public participation. And also, someone poked holes at the process of public participation in light of the impeachment of the Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua. Vivian, public participation as it stands right now. What's your take?
Allow me to first just echo what Victor had said, that right now, we know that the people are actually involved in whatever is happening in the country, and they are involved in terms of getting just to know what the law says about this or that. And I feel like it's also one of the lessons that we've also taken from this particular issue that is happening at the moment, the impeachment of the deputy president, it has also showed the people that actually when they feel somebody is not really performing, is not serving their duty as they should, they are able, or they can be able to also just table that and get to impeach whoever it is that they feel is not really working right. So this has opened the eyes of the people, if you ask me. On matters public participation, yes, the power is with the people. And now we know that it is only right for the people to be involved, because this country is not for the chosen few. This country is ours, and every single person, every single citizen of this country has a say on matters this country and matters governance, to be specific. So on matters public participation, I think the numbers weren't as much when it comes to public participation, and we look at some of the people who came forth to participate on this. The numbers were not really as good as we had expected, but now it is up to us, and we know that we need to have a say in all of this. So public participation is one thing that we should always be involved in. Whenever we are called upon to, we should always show up and participate.
Thank you very much. Now, last but not least, Mike, there were utterances by Majority Leader National Assembly, that is Kimani Ichung'wah, and he said Murima is intact. Looking at the dynamics, you know, the political dynamics that we have been treated to for the last few months, and especially the last few days.
Yes.
What do you think this particular turn of events at the National Assembly augurs for Mount Kenya politics?
Well, of course, what he said about Murima being intact is it's not really the truth, because currently, if you many people within Mount Kenya do not really support the impeachment of the deputy president. So it's going to be a very difficult, a very different political environment within Mount Kenya, because in a way, during the public participations, if you look at some areas, especially from where the deputy president comes from, there was not much support of the motion. And that also speaks to the relations that they will have with the second in command. So it's going to be a very different political direction, and dynamics within Mount Kenya will definitely change should this impeachment be upheld by the Senate. That is going to be it's going to take a very different political dynamic. Now, I want to add more on the aspect of public participation and the lessons that have been inferred from this. I think Kenyans have become more pronounced in matters governance, and they are now able to voice their concerns on the direction into which that the public or the governance is going to take. Henceforth, we are going to see a very involved public in matters governance and in matters development, and by extension, national politics. Right? Yeah.
Thank you, guys. That is their feedback. Remember that this do not represent the views of the national broadcaster, but other than our opinions in what we have observed in the last 12 or 24 hours, so to speak, in as far as the recent turn of events where the Deputy President, Rigathi Gachagua, stands impeached by the National Assembly. Whether this is going to be upheld by the Senate is a matter of wait and see, but it is definitely going to have a triple effect on how we conduct, or rather how politicians and our leaders conduct themselves in the next few days, so to speak. Ahead of the conversation that Victor is going to be having, a few things that I'm looking out for, Victor, in the conversation. What options does now Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua have? What is that particular, the debate in itself, whether he's going to stand impeached by the Senate, or even if he's going to get reprieve from the courts. It has already set a dent, or rather put a dent on politics, especially in the Mount Kenya region. What should we anticipate from there? Secondly, we saw the Council of Governors take a different leadership, a different term in as far as matters leadership is concerned. We have a different sheriff in town at the helm. Where does that leave women when it comes to matters of politics? Because Anne Waiguru was at the helm of the Council of Governors. So what next for her? There's a lot of, conversation that has not been clarified yet as to where she will be taking, or rather what is her next step in as far as matters of politics are concerned, but the role of women when it comes to matters of politics and governance, Victor. And then also the political parties pact. It was very pronounced during yesterday's debate there.
Yes.
And we also raised it after the elections and after we saw some of the small parties fold and join KK, so to speak. So I would also want to be looking out. I'm looking out for that to hear what your panel is going to be saying about that going forward, because I'm sure we're all learning. Every day it's an opportunity to learn. So I'm sure those who are keen and are in politics are also learning. But that said, I'd want to read what impeached Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua shared on his socials after MPs voted to oust him out. That is a staggering 281 against 44 there who said no. And there was a curious absence of some members of parliament, but it's neither here nor there. It stands as is. 2 days now, 48 hours, so to speak, for National Speaker Moses Wetangula to pass on this information to his counterpart, Amason Kingi, at the Senate, and then we'll follow it from there. So, and I quote, this is what is on his socials, that 1 Thessalonians 5:18, give thanks in all circumstances, for this is God's will for you in Jesus, in Christ Jesus. 1 Thessalonians 5:18. The Deputy President, impeached that is, also chose Jeremiah 30:19 that reads, from them will come songs of thanksgiving and the sound of rejoicing. I will add to their numbers, and they will not be decreased. I will bring them honor, and they will not be disdained. It is well. Those are the words of Rigathi Gachagua, now impeached Deputy President, as we wait to see what turn his impeachment actually takes. Now that brings us to updates on further stories that have been making headlines and still on matters leadership. It seems that Kawira Mwangaza is not out of the woods yet, where Kawira Mwangaza now is set to know her fate as governor of Meru County Tuesday next week, with Justice Bahati Mwamuye set to make a ruling on whether she will continue to be in office pending the outcome of her appeal case challenging her impeachment by the county assembly and subsequently approved by the Senate. In the case, Mwangaza is challenging her ouster, citing legal violations, even as Senate has filed an application seeking to have orders to have her continue in office removed. Now, Judge Mwamuye will give her directions on the 15th of October after Kawira Mwangaza's defense and all parties have issued their oral submissions. Now, still keeping up with matters of leadership, we take you all the way to Kericho County, where Kericho Governor Eric Mutai will also face the Senate plenary on Monday next week over his impeachment motion. Now, the decision was reached after a motion to hear the matter by way of committee failed to get a seconder. The Speaker of the Senate, Amason Kingi, communicated to the House committee to the House the receipt of the resolutions of the Kericho County Assembly to remove the governor from office by way of impeachment, saying that the hearing will be done Monday and Tuesday next week. Now, both parties have been directed to supply the Senate with relevant documents by the 12th of October ahead of the hearing. Governor Mutai was impeached by the County Assembly of Kericho on the 2nd of October on 3 grounds, including abuse of office, gross misconduct, and gross violation of the Constitution and other laws. Here's Kamche Menza with more on that report.
October 9th, join us as we celebrate World Post Day, live from the Sarova Stanley Hotel, starting at 8 a.m. It is not just a celebration, it's a launch. Introducing PostaPay, your unified payment solution. Send and receive money across all networks and banks through PostaPay. Make collections, disburse funds, set up your standing orders, and much more, all in one app. Download the PostaPay app today from Google Play or App Store, or dial *336*20# to register. Mambo ni kujipanga chap chap na PostaPay.
Wananifurusha hapa, mimi nimelelewa hapa. Na wewe nani alikuambia kwamba hii nyumba ni ya babako?
Kaka, saidiaje Kalum?
Una mashani ni mpenzi wangu.
Tumeneta nini?
Unasema uongo baada ya machafu yote kakako aliyokufanyia.
Mimi kuna kitu sielewi kabisa, mimi sikuelewi.
Wala siko tayari kukuelewesha, umenisikia?
Mimi nimekuwa huko nje miaka mingapi? Mbona haikuwa aibu jamani?
Pascal, wewe hujui ninavyohisi kwa kufahamu kuwa Kabiru anakamati ya mchanga wa nje.
Achana na Linda. Hata kulazimisha Linda kukupenda.
Civic. No. Wewe ni mkubwa wangu. Yote ulionishauri nimetekeleza. Ila nimegundua kuwa Kabiru ni mtu tofauti sana.
There's a place for people like you.
Even make me go through. From 1990 long been on the grind, man. Tired of me
I'm walking, I'm talking, I'm moving a positive vibe. Who the hell do they think I am? Give me food from the bottom.
I'll be your leader, yeah, you can follow me. I'll be your husband and baby, be my wifey. You make me feel like I've been locked out of
Stop! Wananifurusha hapa, mimi nimelelewa hapa. Na wewe nani alikuambia kwamba hii nyumba ni ya babako?
Kaka, saidiaje Kalum?
Una mashani ni mpenzi wangu.
Tumeneta nini?
Unasema uongo baada ya machafu yote kakako aliyokufanyia.
Mimi kuna kitu sielewi kabisa, mimi sikuelewi.
Wala siko tayari kukuelewesha, umenisikia?
Mimi nimekuwa huko nje miaka mingapi? Mbona haikuwa aibu jamani?
Wherever you go, wherever you stay.
My name is Ethan Caesar. I'm in grade 5 Bethlehem in Seaton Schools at the River, and I play football. I was inspired by the way Foden played. I wanted to become like him.
with a narrative entitled Kasupu. Once upon a time, in the great village of Sibolongi.
Today I'm going to show you how to make the tastiest tomato puree at the comfort of your home. It's just perfect as a side dish for rice, fries, or even potatoes.
Pascal, wewe hujui ninavyohisi kwa kufahamu kuwa Kabiru anakamati ya mchanga wa nje.
Achana na Linda. Hata kulazimisha Linda kukupenda.
Civic. No. Wewe ni mkubwa wangu. Yote ulionishauri nimetekeleza. Ila nimegundua kuwa Kabiru ni mtu tofauti sana.
I never heard a music so sweet. I repeat.
Wagwan, me brethren, big things are going. Remember, each and every Monday we have to shell down the place with nothing but the best of smooth reggae vibes in your favorite station. You know these things, man.
Alafu kila Tuesday kata simu
new tupo style, giving you Kenyan music from the 254.
And of course, you can spice up your Wednesday by enjoying blazing hot hip-hop and R&B jams.
We don't got no label. She say she want bottles.
Vibes and vibes as we go all across Africa, Kenya, Nigeria, Ghana, all the way to Tanzania to give you nothing but the best on Afro Thursday. Make sure you make a date with us each and every single Friday with me, DJ_Liza Diva,
DJ Colder,
and me, Wanjiko. This is Club One Extra.
Unanifanya nisikie kunyongwa. Hadija ai, money especially ukisonga.
On KBC Channel 1, we are a TV station like no other. Get a taste of the best in entertainment.
Yes, indeed.
Feel the passion.
Will you promise me?
I swear that you will never lose me. I can't get married to you.
I'm sure you knew about it. That's why you're making fun of me.
Experience the drama.
Get out.
Who is the man in this one? And the laughter.
Hii wigi umevaa kichwani. Sio wakati tulikuwa tunaapishwa tunapewa mheshimiwa.
Move to the beat.
We are live from Broadcasting House.
And get informed on the latest happenings. KBC Channel 1.
Wow. Yeah!
We are the full package.
Oh, yes.
And Kenya's watching.
Thank you very much for joining us.
All right. Welcome back. So let's get into the topic of discussion today. Today being Wednesday is a viewpoint. And of course, I know every Kenyan right now is quite updated on what's happening in the country, one of its kind. And today I want us to take a look at exactly what really happened. It has been one busy week for the National Assembly. And now the Senate will now take it over and do the rest of the process. Thereafter now we'll see what will happen. I'll also take you through the process. Should the Deputy President be impeached and sent home in totality, what should be the process of getting another Deputy President to serve the remainder of the term? I have got Deputy Governor of Machakos, Francis Mwangangi, joining me on set. DJ, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
And Lucy Moria, who is also a political analyst. She also a politician par excellence, and I really want to get her voice in as far as women leadership is concerned. There were some assertions and allegations on the floor of the House, not so good words for women leaders. I don't know whether you suffered some in the campaign trail, but you'll tell us more. Lucy, good morning.
Good morning.
Karibu sana. Crispus Wathimba is also a politician par excellence. The kind of frustration you face out there, people, is not so good. Karibu sana.
Thank you so much.
He's an engineer by profession with a lot of bias to politics. Everything goes about politics. All right, so let me take you through the front page of the local dailies. We'll discuss them later on. On the front page of the Standard, one word: impeached. That is it. And the man at the subject here is the Deputy President, Rigathi Geoffrey Gachagua. On the front page of the Star newspaper, it's a headline with a question mark. End of the road. There you have it. That is the Star newspaper. End of the road. All right. What about the Daily Nation? How Gachagua was cornered. That is the front page of the Daily Nation. How Gachagua was cornered. The three papers giving different headlines, but one subject remains the same. It's all about Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua. Let me start with you, the only lady with us today. Lucy, let me get your highlight of so far, ever since the entire week. We've heard a lot of things happening. So what has been your highlight? You know, what has been standing out for you, you know, in the political scene, business, generally? What has been your highlight so far?
Good morning, Kenya.
Good morning.
Definitely the big word, impeachment. There are people even now who have learned the vocabulary for the first time. And because it is like the first time to hear about impeachment of a deputy president. So that one stood out. And also Gachagua coming a day before the eve to talk about, to highlight all the things he was defending. And which turned out most of it became part of his downfall. Because he highlighted, he opened the Pandora box. I think he shouldn't have done that. Because most of the accusations yesterday were being referred to what he said before. So that one stood out so much. And of course, also the COG,
yes,
the appointment of the new COG. I think that one I commend. For the first time, we have someone from Northeastern. We're just talking about the areas being left behind. So having the governor for Wajir as the chairman, I think I applaud that also. And yeah, and someone was saying, what's then for women, because Oiguru left. But there's a lot for women, because Oiguru is not women. She's not all women. She has done her part, and yeah, she has been there, and she has become many things. And I think other women are coming. Even the young ones, you can see even with Gen Simu, almost women are the ones who are leading. Unfortunately, I don't know if that question is there yet. You talked about the women being referred to what Gachagua was calling them.
Allegedly so.
Allegedly, but I think I've also heard it before.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that.
Yeah.
We'll get to that. Let me hear from you. Crispus, what's been your highlight?
For me, it's just the fact that our constitution has demonstrated its resilience, that it is alive, that it can be used as a tool to deal with rogue or irresponsible leaders. And if used effectively, we can be able to exercise the various or important checks and balances in terms of governance in this country. What is important for us to appreciate is that the deputy president, just like any other employees, you are hired on various criteria. One is having the right attitude to your employees, having the right attitude to your employers, bringing merit to the job, having the right skills. The deputy president did not have much experience as a leader. He did not have the skills and knowledge as a.
How do you rate that?
He was just an MP for 5 years. There are other people who probably had served more into the public. But I think the president nominated him probably because he exuded a certain attitude that he felt would be good for a principal assistant. But unfortunately, when he went to office, he did not exhibit that kind of attitude. And that is what came out with most members of parliament. They conveyed their frustration in terms of how he was not respectful, he was arrogant, pointing to his attitude towards people when power got into him. So it clearly showed that this is a man who was kicked out not because of allegations, but more because of the attitude with which he was treating people. The allegations about women, the allegations of leaders who went to approach him for guidance and assistance, and how he was able to treat them. So it's important for leaders to appreciate that you are put in that office for a certain purpose. And sometimes respecting people and treating people with decency, human decency, is more important than even the good work you want to say you are doing. There are many things that he stood for in terms of fighting for the rights of the common man, but that was overlooked when it came to impeaching him. And the most important thing to these people is how he was able to treat them, how he was handling them. That was more important to them in terms of determining whether they want to keep it or not.
DJ Mwangange, at the end of the day, later on, I'll ask you the question of how is the seat of the deputies now that you are in that position? How hot is that seat? But you can ponder about that. But let me get your key highlight. Up to this point where we are, what have you taken home so far? Sitting there and watching the proceedings in the country, we had the public participation. which Kenyans came out in large numbers to participate. In terms of constitutionality, what has been your key highlight this far?
It is too early to celebrate for those who are celebrating.
Too early to celebrate.
And maybe sad for Kenya because of the application of our constitution. I've been following keenly on the issue of the process of impeaching the sitting deputy president of the Republic of Kenya. Take away the person and focus on the issue. Here we are talking about, but let me say, Parliament, specifically National Assembly, has done our work. Now let's focus on the Senate and probably our courts, because I'm seeing this matter ending there. Why am I saying so? One, from where I sit, I have no business with the Kenya Kwanza, because I don't belong to them. I just see what they are doing. And to my understanding, I don't know up to this moment what is the position of the ruling party, UDA, as far as the impeachment of their second in command is concerned. I don't know the position of the KK coalition. I don't know their position as far as this issue is concerned. 2 years, and we are rushing to impeach a sitting deputy president. I have some reservations. I will tell you, one day, one time, the real issue will come up. Why Gachagua has to go. I don't think Kenyans, we are being told the real issues. What we are saying here, they are not here nor there, because none of those things at the end of the day, one can say this is exactly the crime that the personality of one Gachagua committed. That said, we saw and watched in the history of this country, and I've been in that house, I can tell you, when you see that kind of presence of members, it is more than, it is something beyond that house. That one I will tell you for free. You bring whichever issue, and I will tell you, you cannot raise even 200 and slightly 220 members. For the period we were there, even during passage of the famous security laws, could not raise that number. But when you see almost over 300 members, you all need to know it is not the way, it's the issue at hand, but something else. But that something else will come from somewhere, one day, one time, many years from now. I'm sure because of the procedures, and probably the legality of that impeachment, we will hear much as we progress. I have a feeling this country has a lot of issues to focus on. Serious issues. I'm not sure the Gachagua's issue is one of them. But sometimes you draw the negative and the positive of it. We have something to learn. Soon after the election, we saw the minority coalition. Actually, let me talk of majority, because some leaders just crossed over. They're violating the 6-month rule and joined the side that was perceived to have won, for them to have a majority. Truth be said, I think we saw what the country underwent. Demonstrations, latent Gen Zs, the same issues, which have not been resolved. If successfully, as a country, we will dispense off of Deputy President Gachagua, I hope those issues will be solved. We will see implementation of NADCO report. We will see the kind of challenges Kenyans are raising being addressed, I think we need to learn and draw lessons. Then the second and maybe my last point on this is those of us who have an opportunity to serve in an elective position from whichever level to whichever level. I think it is high time we draw lessons. We are not there to enrich ourselves. We are not there for our self-fulfillment. We are there to serve those who send us there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Interesting. It was important to give you a minute each also to get your key highlights, because at the end of the day, that happened. But again, let me come back to you, Lucy. Now, we are here. What do you make of that process? Parliament started sitting at 9 to 9:30. That is 12 straight hours uninterrupted. Really, what did you make of that? And even the process, the way Parliament carried itself, process by process until the last vote was taken. The tellers came at 9:17. They announced at 9:18 p.m. Moses Tangula ratified the results.
I would say, like Honorable Mangangi is saying, that one somehow, it's like abnormal.
Yes, because I've just done the math. If 281 members were said ayes, and 44 of them nays, which means 44 plus 281, that is 325 members.
26, 326, and one.
And one, yes.
Yeah.
326 members.
Yes.
That's a huge number. DG said they've never, even by the time I was in Parliament, they'd never raised such numbers.
And he's saying out of experience.
Yes.
So that is abnormality. So there must have been something beyond just that. We don't know what it is, but there was. For them, the way, and it proved that if that Parliament really wanted to solve Kenyan problems, they could. If they can agree anonymously, that number of people to do a thing like that, what Osborne hatujai waona tena wakifanyia Wakenya kazi namna hiyo. So it is something which is, it looks fake somehow, not really normal. How everyone is there and the decision made and so on before that we are going to do it. Even they did it before. They were out there saying. And I think the problems that we have, how many motions, how many bills are pending, and they have been brought there and they even lack quorum.
Yes.
How come this one had?
That's a good
to
question.
me, this one seemed more personal with Gachagua. I'm not for Gachagua anyway, but it seemed more personal. Even the contributions were like more personal. Not, it was not like the office they are attacking, not the office of the deputy. It is Gachagua as a person. And like my friend here said, it's all about the attitude, the way he responds, the way he intimidates people, of which, yeah, some of them are true. Although you said we should say they are allegations because we are not sure. But most of them are true. We've heard them on a national television saying. For me personally, the question of dividing Kenyans and always talking about Murima would be an issue because he's a national deputy president. If Mugangi here started talking about a certain ward where he comes from, telling the people of Machakos, my ward, how would it look like? And the others, does it mean that the other regions or the other communities should also have their deputy? That is a no-no thing. That is not what we want in Kenya after the new constitution. Kenyans need unity. We have more issues to solve, like we are saying. Our education is at limbo as we talk. Our healthcare is, we don't even see that participation. Like healthcare, a lot of people now, we are going to the hospital, we are being turned back. This is a huge issue after they changed from NHIF to SHE. It's not even clear to Kenyans what it is. But no one, why are they not taking that quick kind of, you remember it was on a Wednesday and Friday we are going to have public participation, and it happened and all MPs were in their constituencies doing that. Why don't we see them doing that? About telling people about the change, the transition between the SHE and the NHIF. That is our expectation. So it is something beyond that. It is more personal. Gachagua as a person, yes, of course, somehow he has a loose mouth. And I think even what he talked a day before the eve actually almost worked against him. Because that was the reference that everyone was like, he opened like a Pandora box. He was saying, you did this yesterday, you did this. He talked about his family. No one knew about it. So he is working even against himself. So for him to be that, because also Kenyans don't need people who are dividing people, we need unity, especially for a national leader like that. Another thing, that office of the deputy, it is not clear. Someone just picked you to be under them, even the deputy governors. I think also the law has a gap.
Yes.
It didn't be clarified. Because if we don't even know the exact duties, you just need to be behind someone.
You don't know. He's here. You'll tell us.
Yeah, you tell us. We don't know actually. So we want to know their duties. Because when we are holding them accountable, you'll be saying, the deputy governor, Gachagua, this is where you failed as a deputy governor. That's why I'm saying most things seems to be so personal things. You said this, you responded this way, but what is his duty? Why is he paid? Why do we even need one? Can we do without? We even saw Moi doing without a deputy, and he did it. So we either get the clarification what their duties is, why is he even making the noise? What is his work exactly? Is it just to drive and go to Karen and go to his office? What is that? What is our duties? Because when the president says maybe they don't communicate. You are here because of me, and I'm not communicating with you. We are not talking. Then what is your work? That means if the president decides not to give him duties, then he's there doing nothing. Eating our money for nothing.
You know, one thing I've picked out of the two, Crispus, is DG saying that he hopes that now with the impeachment of the deputy president, we are going to see certain changes. He's talked about NADCO report. I don't know whether to take it to be sarcastic or something. You want to see certain bills being passed in parliament. In other words, she's also talking about the issue of health. Education is in limbo. Now that raises some serious concern that there are bigger issues that Kenyans and even parliamentarians should be dealing with in parliament. There's so many bills, there's a serious backlog in parliament that Wanjiku should be enjoying. Education should be here. I wish we had these 326 numbers educating about education. What do you talk about?
It's pretty.
Yeah. I think one of the things that we need to appreciate is that we are a very forgetful nation. This administration has struggled to deliver. Since it was sworn in, they have lost 2 finance bills. They have struggled to convey the message of better, in terms of, for example, the Hustler Fund, the housing levy and what the housing levy is able to do, the issues of funding for education, especially higher education, the issue of JSS, transition from 844 to CBC is something that this administration is supposed to carry on. But at every point, they are able to blame someone or a group of people, either the opposition, and therefore we need to have discussions. 2022, 2023, we had the NADCO. 2023, 2024, 2024, 25, we now have the Gen Z movement, and now Gachagua seems to be the bearer of that failure, and therefore he has to go. We don't know what next year, who will carry that cross. But unfortunately, time is being lost, and the country is not moving forward. We are losing as an economy. We are supposed to be the most progressive, strongest economy in the region. But as time goes by, the region is getting discouraged by the conduct and the behavior of our politics in this country. Everybody around us is getting concerned. And we, as a country, are forgetting that we don't choose our neighbors. And we have a responsibility to carry ourselves in a manner that gives hope
to
those around us.
Let's take a break.
Thank you.
I want to serve you tea.
Thank
I want to serve you tea. Here, we don't impeach anyone. We just take tea and have a conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
لازم نصلي عليه اللهم صلي عليه.
Jema ambacho mja hufanya Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala humpa ajr mara 10, na kwa kila ovu ambalo analifanya mja basi Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala humpa adhabu 1.
Yaani mpaka inafikia pahali mwanadamu anaweza kavuka mipaka. Ndio ile Mwenyezi Mungu anasema innal insana la yatgha, hakika mwanadamu huvuka mipaka. Arraahu staghna, anapoona Mwenyezi Mungu amemtajirisha, Mwenyezi Mungu amempatia kazi, Mwenyezi Mungu amempatia cheo, Mwenyezi Mungu amemfanyia kadha na kadha na kadha.
نسمع اسم النبي لازم نصلي عليه اللهم صلي عليه.
Jema ambacho mja hufanya Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala humpa ajr mara 10, na kwa kila ovu ambalo analifanya mja basi Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala humpa adhabu 1.
Yaani mpaka inafikia pahali mwanadamu anaweza kavuka mipaka. Ndio ile Mwenyezi Mungu anasema innal insana la yatgha, hakika mwanadamu huvuka mipaka. Arraahu staghna, anapoona Mwenyezi Mungu amemtajirisha, Mwenyezi Mungu amempatia kazi, Mwenyezi Mungu amempatia cheo, Mwenyezi Mungu amemfanyia kadha na kadha na kadha, basi hujisahau.
Swala zote na salamu zimfikie Hashimu mwenye cheo kwa karimu.
Wananifurusha hapa, mimi nimelelewa hapa. Na wewe nani alikwambia kwamba hii nyumba ni ya babako?
Kaka, saidiaje Kalum?
Una mashani ni mpenzi wangu.
Tumenita nini?
Unasema uongo baada ya machafu yote kakako aliyokufanyia?
Mimi kuna kitu sielewi kabisa, mimi sikuelewi.
Wala siko tayari kukuelewesha, umenisikia?
Mimi nimekuwa huko nje miaka mingapi? Mbona haikuwa aibu jamani?
Welcome back. So our tea is ready. Now we are ready to roll. Now, Crispus, I want to give you 1 minute so that you finish what you're saying. Then now we dive straight into the discussion now.
As I was saying, it's important that as a country, we realize time is not on our side. So whatever we are spending or giving a lot of attention to, what value is it bringing to our society? What value will it bring to our country? And I think we have spent the last 2 years struggling to get direction as a country. And I hope if Gachagua was the reason why this country was not having any direction, I would call upon the president, now that he has the opportunity, if Senate confirms the decision of the parliament, and Gachagua does not pursue the courts for the prosecution of this matter, we hope that if he's given the opportunity to have another deputy, that he will be able to take stock of the country and for the next 3 years be able to align this country to the transformation plan that the Kenya Kwanza administration have. Otherwise, we have experienced house of cards for the last 2 years, and none of that house of cards has been to the benefits of the common man. The common man is still struggling. We have been paying a lot of contribution to this economy, but very little has come to us. The housing tax has been paid now for 2 consecutive years. What value has it brought to the economy? We have now SHA. We have people who are struggling to transition from NHIF to SHA. Can we make sure that that process is as humane as possible? We have challenges with the university funding. How best can we address the issue of the education of our young children? There are many issues this country is struggling with. If Gachagua was the reason why this country was not moving forward, now that in less than probably 2 weeks, we'll have a determination on this matter, can the country move forward? So that come 2027, we'll be able to have an opportunity to make a decision whether to re-elect or get somebody else to be the president or another party to administer this country. Yes.
We never expected ourselves to be here 2 years after an election. The Kenya Kwanza administration came and sold a very elaborate, the bottom-up economic transformative agenda to Kenyans, and perhaps that's what Kenyans took and elected this particular government. But 2 years down the line, we are seeing this, 7th of October, and now Senate is also going to take it over. Were you shocked? Have you been shocked? What have you been learning all through in under 2 years?
It was least expected because even in our homes, sometimes if you come visiting and maybe I was quarreling with the mother of my kids, sometimes you focus on the real issue and maybe you pick that private one later. But in Kenya today, we seem to be focusing on issues that, in my view, are least critical.
Yeah.
In state building, when trying to transform a country, 2 issues are critical, actually 3, but 2 are very critical. One is the issue of decentralization. In Kenya, we are talking about devolution. 2 is the leadership, the quality of the leadership. And then you cannot talk of transforming a country without proper quality education. Now, in all this, tell me what is happening in Kenya. We are doing the very opposite. Other than moving forward, we are moving backwards. In terms of education, everyone here, every Kenyan know what is happening. Thousands, if not millions, of students are on the verge of not even going to school, whether college, whether high school, because of the issue touching on fees. As far as I'm concerned, over 60 years after independence, this country, the basic education, and the basic I mean from the lowest level to the bachelor's level, diploma and then degree, it should be free. and we should be working towards ensuring that happens. Now, that being the case, today we are struggling to even think of how to maintain even the most unfortunate ones in school. So I think depending on what how this administration came to power, how they set their agenda, how transformative it was, and that is the reason why Kenyans voted for this administration. I expected they just come together, sit down, see who they can collaborate, who they can bring on board, and ensure they move the country forward. The issue of impeachment was highly least expected. But in politics, many things do happen. Maybe sometimes you can use certain people, and then once you are in the office, you remember the Machiavelli laws. In politics, using those laws, Machiavelli, you use people to ascend to power and dump them, get others. Yeah. Maybe we have this application today in Kenya Kwanza, but we should use them when the country is stable. What if you go against the Machiavelli's law? Sometimes you have to be careful because it depends what kind of people. It depends on what you need to be calculative. To my understanding, I think somebody sat somewhere and did very good calculation. If we bring this particular party on board, we can get this one out. If we do this, we will do this. And very soon, you will see where it is going. Why am I saying this? For the past 1 week, we have seen how members of parliament contributed in the public arena. Some of them saying, I will never vote for this. It's not a priority for Kenya. But when the D-Day came, and they were called somewhere, yesterday, some of them were the loudest in supporting. Yeah. You wonder what happened. And that brought me to a case in point that occurred to me as a member of parliament. I don't know whether it is the right way to put it, but we went in a committee, I wouldn't say which one. And because the person we were told to approve, to vet so that he can be appointed, he had a case, a criminal case, a live criminal case. So we marshaled members and said, no, the law doesn't allow this. But because of the interests, let me say, of the state, we did a report and confirmed rejection of the person. But minutes to the tabling of the report, those of us who were keen to ensure that person, the law was followed, we got some calls. And I remember that afternoon so well. We went to the chamber, and ideally, chairman tables the report. Then if the vice chairman is the one to second the tabling of the report. But that was not the case that afternoon. In fact, I sat even far away. I was called to second the report. And because of the call, each one of us had received separately, we had no choice but to ensure we overturn that report and make sure that person is appointed. I think that was the case in this motion that happened. When you look at and see the happenings of the week, people who are saying this, and then you hear the party has been called to a meeting, then they come to parliament and you see everything has changed. And those who are opposed are the ones now who are the loudest. It tells you, it brings question marks. But you asked a specific question. I think in leadership there can also be diversionary tactics. Now the country is focusing on impeachment process. While there are things here we are pushing so fast. By the time you realize we are over them. Look at what is happening within the JKI, the issue within the health sector, SHIPSHA. People are being asked to pay for their own bills, patients, that is. When you look at all these things, when you look at one Indian company that seems to be taking over almost everything, we must look a way of diverting. There's a way to secure a state, and people use a lot of methods. This could be one of them. At the end of the day, people could be celebrating Gachagua is gone, but he might be there to stay. You know, Moi came and people, I read the history, people say it was a passing cloud, a cloud that remained with us for over 24 years.
Yes.
So, you never know. You can see, even the time we have spent here talking about impeachment, that is where somebody sat somewhere and crafted something so that you divert the attention of the nation while we advance on what we want to do. That could, in my own view, could be one of these things. So I think let's focus on state building. State building is ensuring we have a sound healthcare plan in place, serving Kenyans. We see ourselves as a country taking care of our patients. We have a team here which is never talked about. The elderly and even the very poor majority who are at the bottom of the pyramid. If you want to see any progressive country, we have to focus on, we have to go back to the basic, where Dr. Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka and Kibaki left us. That is where we need to go back and pick our Vision 2030, redo it to fit our moment, and we move forward as a country.
Do you know who is the CEO of the Anti-Aging Society organization in Kenya? Yours truly.
Sorry?
I'm so happy.
Oh.
You talk about the elderly. You'll be my president.
You see, why am I saying this? The time has changed.
Yeah.
There are challenges in this country. Our parents back at the village, they educated us. Plus also the community that also did some marambes to see ourselves being taken to school. After that, you come to this Nairobi. You are not finding any stable job to support the community and the parents you left behind. So there are challenges.
Yes.
Those are issues we need to sit and discuss.
I'll come. Let me just open the discussion a bit. So we are here now. Senate is going to take over. Of course, the Speaker of the National Assembly said that he's going to write to the Senate within, actually today, should be today, for the sake of time. But then now, what do you think is going to be? Let me come back home and start with Mrima. Lucy, so basically, my colleague Regina was saying that niliguza Mrima. I just got an injury. So what do you think is now running through the blood veins of quote-unquote Mrima?
Number one, let me comment about the question of, was it a surprise?
Okay, all right, go ahead.
Before I'll go to that.
Go ahead.
To me, it wasn't a surprise. Comparing the note at which they started. The events that have taken place, it was not a surprise, and my expectation actually diminished tremendously from the onset. From the very first, from onset, Gachagua started with a very negative tone, that we had empty coffers, that the government is owned by shareholders, that is going to seal all that no one else go to the prayer. Of course, having been in the opposition, so not opposition actually, having been in Azimio, so like we were blocked until I became hopeless. I did not have any hope. I felt it is not my government. I was made to feel that way. So from that, my expectation was not so much. They have been just, now you are told the coffers are empty. So that means don't expect much. So I wasn't expecting much. I wasn't like seeing there's anything going to happen because all the promises, nothing has worked so far. This is the second year. So, and I'm not even now expecting much, except the making of noise and eliminating Gachagua, of which is going. What's going to happen? And the Murima. First, Murima is very divided. It's not the Murima we knew, not anymore. Yesterday we saw every MP from Meru County, Embu, they all voted yes. Just a few from Murima who voted no. In that case, they created that gap now within themselves, that division is there. There is also, there will be a lot of hatred also between the elected members of parliament and the communities. It will never be the same. Because most of them, they are like what Mwanga just said, let them try to come back to the people, whoever voted yes. And it
Do you think that is the general feeling now?
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Of course, they have a lot of problems. Maybe they are paid enough that they don't give a damn even if they lose. But that division is there. You ask, what do we think it will happen? So that division is there within Murima itself. They are so much divided. There is also the division between MPs and the community. There is a division also in parliament because there is this group on the other side, this group on the other side. There is also division in political parties. He just talked about coalitions. How are they consulted? Because if it is Kwanzaa, it has coalitions. There are some groups inside there that maybe did not participate, like Mutuse comes from, which party is that?
The Chap.
The Chap. We didn't even hear them when they were mentioned. When Gachagua was mentioning the coalition, he didn't even mention the Chap party, because I think it came a little later. But now coalition, I mean, it is the one which is in front, now fronting almost everything. And they are getting even more shares. You see, they have a CS, they have all this. But what about the others? It is through Gachagua that we knew there are people with that percent, 70%. We had the Tom and Jerry's from Western. We had people from Coast who are negotiating for. It's not me saying, that's what Gachagua told us. And even if the impeachment doesn't go through, things will never be the same. If you are my deputy, we are there to work with you, put things together. Do you expect Ruto to take Gachagua the same way again?
If it doesn't get impeached.
Yeah, it will never be the same. It can't be the same. Even if it's you, let's be realistic. This is someone who has been undermining, in quotes, or intimidating, in quotes. This is someone who speaks after you have spoken. This is someone who addresses the nation after you have addressed. Again, following the Machiavelli, you never outshine your boss. And now he has been doing that. It can never be the same. Which executive is going to work with him?
But that's Wanjiku who is going to suffer immensely.
No, I'm not refusing. We are already suffering. I'm in the Wanjiku category myself because I didn't make it to parliament. So the Wanjiku will continue suffering. Again, like he's saying, the Andani issue, the NHIF, the education model, those things are just put in the shelf. And our parliament shows in numbers to discuss Gachagua. That could be the biggest scam ever done in this country, just to deviate our minds from what real issues were. We don't hear Raila talking anymore. We don't hear the president, you say you have not heard his voice. Is this just a small thing? It's not just a small thing to ignore. We should have heard him say this is true or it is not true. Even the president, even the Adan thing, he has not talked. It is involving his ministers. It's involving all this. It's about our country. These are issues that touching us. The workers from the airport, and the demonstration, they're all there. And it is not an issue to our president. There's something that is being covered. Kenyans are not stupid anymore. Kenyans, and I will keep on just congratulating the agencies. These young people know so many things now. You even saw the day of public participation. Actually, it is them who went. It's them. And they were not needed there. Some were beaten up. Why would you not want them? Why? They are Kenyans. You said Kenyans come and participate, and they were coming to participate. Why are you feeling bad when they come? Why are you feeling insecure when they come? So Kenyans are alert. We will never be the same. We are divided, and will continue being divided now.
Which is quite unfortunate.
Yes.
I hope we had that some unity.
And that is, even if he is impeached or not impeached, it's never the same.
Okay, that still goes to Crispus. Either way, how is Mrima going to handle this? To be specific, because I'm asking about Mrima because it was the deputy president who said usiguze Mrima. You know, so how is Mrima going to focus on it? Because there's a lot of emotions which was pumped into the Mrima and the politics that is there. Either way, he survives or goes home. How is it going to be, politically so?
One of the issues that Gachagua was accused of violating the gross violation was the issue of national unity.
Yes.
And he was alleged to have violated because he spoke about the Mount Kenya region. And therefore the question is, should any leader, even ourselves here, are we in the right mind to discuss regions? And that includes the Mount Kenya.
Yeah.
Because the deputy president, one of the grounds that has led him to be impeached is the regional discussion.
Yeah.
So therefore the question is, will any leader have the audacity to discuss any region? And therefore, if that is the reason why the deputy president has been dismissed, we should not be concerned about regions anymore. The regions should not matter. Luya unity, Ukambani unity, Kalenjin unity should not be an issue. Because if deputy president was concerned about his region, and that is the reason he has been kicked out, then nobody should discuss. But the important issue for the Mount Kenya region is that they feel betrayed, because when the president was a deputy president, the president then was from Mount Kenya. And they disagreed for reasons we will never know, or we shall know one day. But the president then did not take the same measure. His administration then did not take the same measure of impeaching William Ruto out of office. Because if this impeachment is confirmed, Gachagua will never hold any office, public office. Meaning he has been removed from any opportunity to be a public servant in this country. William Ruto was never subject to the same kind of punishment for defying or disagreeing with the president. And Gachagua was able to demonstrate, if I was questioning public servants, even him questioned public servants. If I stood with the common man, even him stood with the common man.
And he said he learned from his boss.
Exactly. So he was able to demonstrate that whatever I did is because I learned from the first holder of this office. So if he has been punished for the same things that the first holder of that office did, to the extent he has been excommunicated from office, that he will never hold any public office. Yet the holders of that office previously, who is now the president, was not subject to the same. Yet the mountain was the president then, did not do this. It is a great deal of betrayal to any person who analyzes this issue from Mount Kenya. At the bottom of it is betrayal. Whether it was done by majority MPs from that region is not important. What is important is that we held our commitment to return a hand in terms of electing William Ruto as president. What did he do? He got one of us as deputy and impeached him. So 2027, we will be able to make a decision based on account of that. In terms of delivering for the people of Mount Kenya, every part of Kenya has not been delivered for because the economy is struggling. So the pain the Mount Kenya may feel economically or socially is being felt across
the country.
So it's not an issue of the Mount Kenya region alone. But the political betrayal is the most important issue at this point. This was a political process that has led one of their own to be kicked out. Whether he did not matter to the people is not the issue, but he was one of their own.
All right. Betrayal in the City. Have you read that book?
Yes.
Betrayal in the City. Okay, let's take a break and we come back. We're still going to continue with more. How is the president going to handle this? And I've not forgotten the question to the Deputy Governor. Uko na kazi? Okay. Kazi ni gani?
Kazi iko mingi sana.
So, how is that seat feeling? Because it seems this seat here, deputies, kuna mambo mengi sana. We'll talk about it after break. Don't worry. Don't worry. How about to take a look at the weather forecast?
It's cloudy.
October 9th, join us as we celebrate World Post Day, live from the Sarova Stanley Hotel, starting at 8 a.m. It is not just a celebration, it's a launch. Introducing PostaPay, your unified payment solution. Send and receive money across all networks and banks through PostaPay. Make collections, disburse funds, set up your standing orders, and much more, all in one app. Download the PostaPay app today from Google Play or App Store, or dial *336*20# to register. Mambo ni kujipanga chap chap na PostaPay.
Wananifurusha hapa, mimi nimelelewa hapa. Na wewe nani alikuambia kwamba hii nyumba ni ya babako?
Kaka. Saidiaje Kalumbe?
Una mashani ni mpenzi wangu.
Tumenita nini?
Unasema uongo baada ya machafu yote kakako aliyokufanyia?
Mimi kuna kitu sielewi kabisa, mimi sikuelewi.
Wala siko tayari kukuelewesha, umenisikia?
Mimi nimekuwa huko nje miaka mingapi? Mbona haikuwa aibu jamani?
Pascal, wewe hujui ninavyohisi kwa kufahamu kuwa Kabiru anakamatia mchanga wa nje.
Achana na Linda. Acha kulazimisha Linda kukupenda.
Civic. Wewe ni mkubwa wangu. Yote ulionishauri nimetekeleza. Ila nimegundua kuwa Kabiru ni mtu tofauti sana.
All right, welcome back. So, I asked a question about how the Mlima is feeling because Deputy President said that Mlima should not be touched. But let me get to hear from you, DJ. What do you think is now running through the blood veins again of the Mlima? Let me also get your point on that.
First and foremost, allow me a minute. I talk about two issues, then I come to Mlima.
Okay.
The two issues is about before the Deputy President appeared in Parliament, the previous night he had a countrywide communication to the people.
Yes.
This is a national leader. He needed to explain himself. He needed to talk to his followers and Kenyans at large. That was very important as far as I'm concerned. Whether it annoyed some people, that is their problem. To me, it was this being a political leader, it is good he explains himself to the people who put him to where he is. That was critical. That is according to me. I think also we saw the public participation, and I'm sure if this matter finds itself in court, this will be one of the contentious issues. I know it will come up, because we saw people themselves, and I'm sure as media houses you have clips of people questioning, why are we being paid to attend public participation? Why can't we be allowed to come voluntarily and air our views? So we saw a managed process of public participation, and I'm not sure that is what is anticipated in the constitution. So, and even the mover of the motion, the mover who is a member of Chap party, that was in Azimio, and soon after election they jumped, they ran away. The mover, I don't know the place where the public participation was conducted, where he represents. We saw all the media houses showed everywhere, even the CDF offices where it was supposed to take place. It was locked throughout the day. People were saying they went all the wards, there was none. Telling you something. He tried to go to Wote, where the count public participation previous day was supposed to take place. He was chased. So what I'm saying is, the point I'm trying to put across is, if I'm elected today to represent three of you, it is good I get your mandate to go and present what I want to present. Let me not try to think on behalf of the people who elected me to lead and assume this is what they want. That's what I'm saying. We need to put the people first. Carry along their aspirations and wishes of these people. Now, coming to the question of Mulima, just like any other part of the country,
yes,
I think if the government delivers, but I'm sure they will be judged by what they performed. But I can tell you, there's betrayal. There's a famous case. I will never state anything without an example. There is one person who was said to have worked, and the media was all over. The one-time Ralieda member of parliament, he was called Rafael Tuju.
Yes.
I think he was even rated the best MP, who performed, did a lot of development.
The first mobile clinic was in Rarieda.
Yes, you see, he did a lot of work as per the media reports. But because of what was perceived to be a political betrayal, he had to go. In Kenya, we had the only president as an academia, as a professional, as somebody who can analyze the development of any country. President Emilio Mwai Kibaki, late, and may his soul rest in peace, he sat back and put the Kenyan map on his desk, and he planned and executed programs that promoted development and inclusivity of this country, of almost everyone. And that is why so many programs were introduced during President Mwai Kibaki. And by that time, you remember, even the World Bank, even the United Nations were sending delegations here to come and see how is President, this third world country is implementing free primary education. How are they managing that they have a CDF that is in every constituency? They are introducing women fund, youth enterprise fund, roads money at the constituency level, electricity money at the constituency level. And all these programs were successful. But with all that, he forgot politics. And that is why he nearly lost 2007.
Yeah.
Because he was busy thinking about the country, he did not think about politics. Now, in Kenya, in the last 72 hours, we saw something like kuva dereva, kuva makanga, kuva mechanic, kuva turnbull.
Kuva abiria.
And now Abiria Pia is also
and it was very, I'm quoting it because it is all over.
Yeah.
And it's something that can be extracted. That is not very good for some of us who are elected. And we seem to be assuming our people. We need to go back to call ourselves somewhere and maybe think more of Kenyans, more of the country. Because going by the demonstrations that have been there, we know Kenyans are fully aware today of what is supposed to happen. So this issue of political betrayal, I'm sure Mulima will never, whether Gachagua survives, whether he goes, politics and governance in this country will never be the same again. Never. It has to change. And let me tell you, this is not...
is it Mulima peke yake or the entire ecosystem?
Generally in the country.
Okay.
I'm foreseeing personally, and I stand to be corrected. In the next election, you will see Mbandus on one side and maybe Kushits and Nairots on the other. Because we cannot have, you know, these positions we hold. Sometimes you might not know. I'll tell you something. I had a delegation in my office, and they were telling me loudly, you know, when we see your car going home, we are happy. Now, you just look at that kind of sentiment. From Machakos, I go towards the rural part of the county. But now, people just to see me, the deputy governor, amepita. It is like people seem to be just satisfied. The same applies in Mulima. These are people, I will tell you, they have produced 3 different presidents. When civilization and modernization started in this country, started in this particular part of the world, they know the importance of leadership. They are people, and you can ask data from IEBC. That is the single most region that comes out in large numbers to 40 because they understand. They have had enough civic engagement that they understand the importance of voting. And in politics, you have 3 key factors. One of them is numbers. 2 is money. 3 is strategy and execution of that strategy. Now tell me, in all these 3 they have, tell me what happens. They must call themselves and sit to discuss. This is what has happened to us. And make no mistake, it doesn't matter we dispense of Gachagua and we pick somebody else from there. It will not matter.
Okay.
That betrayal, that political betrayal will still remain there. The only cure is one. And I stand, anybody has to challenge me on this one. If today the president and the deputy president sat, agree to work for this country today, and they are seen to work without any entrance between them, it might heal and unite the country. As it is, it might not matter who comes. That betrayal, you will go, and because some of us leaders, we forget, you might tend to think people love you. But they come because of the position you are holding.
Okay.
Wait the day they will be told to vote, AMA campaign starts, you will know whether you did or you did not perform.
We've been quiet for quite some time just to let you talk, because he's speaking from the political level, and you're giving us the bone marrow of how politics is being played, the real meaning of betrayal, and what is in the blood vein of Mrima. But then now, what do you think is going to be the political change in the entire ecosystem, Lucy, moving forward? Because now, politicians are here, judiciary is here, Wanjiku is here. These three people, what do you think is going to be happening katikati yao? Because now he's talked about, you know, kufa dere, kufa makanga, and now 55 abiria pia kwa hii gari. So what's going to happen?
I think like 2027,
yes,
it will be a total change in wave. And I can tell you for free, Wanjiku this time is not the same Wanjiku. I have seen the young people, the Gen Z swearing. Even their parents, they will pay for their holidays. They don't want them even on the scene to make any mistake because they are not ready for any mistakes. You will see leaders that you never expected. People will be elected not because of money, not because of any influence. And because of that betrayal, somehow the Mrima might be united than ever before, whichever direction they will take. I'm not saying Mrima like Gachagua, all of them, but the betrayal actually left them thinking like, these mistakes, we need to think twice. They might not be for Gachagua, but whoever they will say, even if it's not from Mrima, whoever they will run behind, they will do it together. From the talk, from what is going on. Mrima will never be the same, and they might be more than ever united. Whoever they will unite behind will be the main thing. Like you're saying, those are people, actually they are politically, they are very elite.
Yeah.
And also they have money, they have the financial muscle. And also they are educated. I think they feel like they were really tricked. I was talking to someone yesterday, and then he kept on saying, but you know, Uhuru never gave us direction. I say, now you've gotten the direction. This is a time now you have direction. When does Uhuru come in? Actually, you insulted. I'm so proud of Uhuru that he never even talked, and he has never said anything. You know, even keeping quiet in our culture, it talks a lot volumes.
Yeah.
When someone is quiet, just be afraid. You don't know what.
And
Uhuru
you know
has said, and I'm even sure Uhuru has not met Gachagua.
That statement is heavily loaded. It's not just a statement of Uhuru never gave us direction.
That's what they are saying.
Yeah.
So they feel that they made a mistake, but it's because they were never given direction by Uhuru. But Uhuru told them. Uhuru told them to vote for Baba, but they did not. He said no. He kept on saying that don't vote, this person is a bad person, but he never elaborated what was bad in the person that he told them they are going to regret. So that's the saying. They have realized that their own mistake when it is too late. But I'm telling you, Mrima is working around the clock. They may seem divided now on Gachagua because of his mouth. Actually, Gachagua, it's the individual, not because he's Mrima. It's in those are individual differences. Even the MPs who are voting against him, those are individual differences.
Yeah.
I went to him seeking for this, he talked to this, insulted women, all these generalized things. That's why I think about him is just like so personal things, but it's not Mrima.
Okay.
Mrima is now united more than ever before. And whatever action they will take, you'll be surprised. You will come here on your list as well.
This is a question I'm going to ask all of you. The precedent that has been set, whether it goes through and gets impeached or not, there's a precedent that has been set in as far as articulating the Constitution is concerned. The impeachment of elected leaders. We've seen impeachment of governors. Wambora survived. We've seen Kawira Mwangaza going through the process. We've seen it's out there. Now Mutai of Kerichi is also facing the Senate next week. Impeachments are across. DG, we hope you don't get to that point. You serve your full term very well. We hope so. People of Machakos, tafadhali. The Kingings, what do you think is the precedence being set here to take that copy of the Constitution and put it on the table and say, you know what, your leaders, this is it. You follow the rules, you are safe. If you don't follow it, here is the repercussion in terms of constitutionality and just making that constitution work for the elected leaders and to protect Wanjiko. Article 1, power belongs to the people. There's a precedent being set here. Even for if he goes home, there's a new one coming in. So pia akicheza kwa kazi, the same thing might happen to him. Crispus.
Well, you know, when you say power belongs to the people, in these matters of impeachment, what hand of the people plays into the impeachment of leaders?
When is Thursday? When is Friday? Public participation?
So public participation will probably be tested in terms of the quality of public participation that went through on Friday and Saturday, probably at the judiciary, at the courts.
Because
to determine,
courts will look at the process.
Yes, to determine whether it was the quality, there was quantity, or the process was followed in terms of realizing the public participation. Because that's the only way the mwananchi can participate in terms of exercising the power that the Constitution provides them. So, in terms of the members of parliament who are supposed to be representatives of the people, there is a disconnect to what extent whatever decision they took, if it's a representation of what the people want. Whether it's at the county assemblies in the Kericho or in Meru, was that the will of the people? Or it was a desire of the political class to remove one of their own who was an inconvenient to them in terms of achieving certain goals. So the whole constitution that we came up with was supposed to put the Kenyan person at the center of governance. But to what extent has that place of the Kenyan voter been secure in terms of determining good governance? That is the question. And I think the constitution has gone through a process of being tested in terms of seeing whether it is being utilized effectively in achieving the good governance that we so desire. To some extent, we have seen people who are being impeached who are not very good leaders. But we have also seen, like the Embu governor, who survived 9 impeachments, and he was never removed from office.
Yes.
And he was able to remain in office and serve 2 terms. So to what extent this constitution is serving the expectation that we so desired when we amalgamated this constitution is a question we need to ask ourselves. But also, it's important to realize that the whole democratic process that we are exercising has brought a lot of awakening to Kenyans. And therefore, we are able to exercise the political rights that we have in the constitution, and therefore realize the importance, as Mheshimiwa said, of civic engagement. Because what is important right now is that we are continuing to learn the importance of engaging in civic matters. And as we continue doing so, we will continue becoming better and better. We are not yet there. But at some point, we will realize even the leaders, the quality of leaders we elect, will be leaders that are out of the quality of civic engagement. Right now, I cannot say we have the best of MPs, or the best of MCAs. But as we continue, we will be able to filter and get the best, so that when we go to parliament, when we go to Senate, when we go to county assemblies, the kind of deliberations that go there will be quality. And we need to look at it. There are so many bills being challenged in court because the quality of legislation that is happening is also very poor. Okay? Because the leaders we put there are also not the best that we have in the society. So Kenyans need to ask ourselves, how can then we improve the quality of legislation, representation?
Yes.
By putting the right leaders. How do we get the right leaders? By following the constitution, integrity requirements, the leadership requirements. How do we achieve that? By understanding who is a good leader and who is a bad leader.
DG, I ask a question. So, you know, under Section 180 of the Constitution, the governor must have a deputy. And, you know, again, 179.34, you must deputize the governor in the executive part of the county, and you must also have your roles. But is this position of deputies a poisoned chalice? Because it's not new that even from the inception of our independence, we've had different deputy presidents also facing the same problem that we are facing. But now this is the first of a kind that Rigathi Gachagua has been impeached. So what is what is this thing about the seat of the deputies? I mean, could it be because it started in heaven when the gentleman tried to argue with God and God said, you know what, you're not going to disturb me in my kingdom. Get out. Tell us. We just want to hear.
Let me say this. The same constitution that protected the then deputy president, Uhuru's deputy president in their second term, the current president of the Republic of Kenya, I hope it is the same constitution in place. It has not been changed. And I hope God will see it apply to even the current deputy president. But I'm also sure he has also learned a lesson on how to deal with leaders. Now, to your question of deputies, I personally did not understand the magnitude of the problem between governors and the deputies, and elected as one of the executives to lead the Deputy Governors Forum. I will tell you, I will sit here and tell you, over 95% of the deputy governors across the Republic of Kenya have an issue with the governor, or governors an issue with the deputy.
95%?
Over 95%. It is something I have on my desk from where I sit as the National Organizing Secretary of the Deputy Governors Forum. It is a threat to devolution. And why is this happening? And I want also to touch on the deputy presidents or vice presidents. At least for the period Kalonzo was there with the Kibaki, there were no issues. For the 5-year period, they sat and worked. We did not hear, if there was anything, nobody got to know in the country, or even those who are working with them, because some are our friends and we did not hear anything. But we have seen, like Josphat Karanja, we saw what happened between Kenyatta and we read. We did not see. We read what happened between the founding father of this country and Mzee Jomo Kenyatta. So I think, let me talk of interest. It is just a question of interest. And somehow misplaced priorities. And the third one, which is the most important, you must understand in a leadership, particularly political leadership, it matters, the issue of power matters a lot. So if you are the governor, and we know you are the ultimate authority, there will be so many players around you. If you are not keen, you can be owned by a cartel. And that is where now many deputy governors get lost. Because when you are campaigning, those bodies, those interested parties are quiet and far away. Immediately you get elected, some coalesce around deputy governors, others around the governors because of the resources. If I'm close to the governor, I will be, my child or my friend or somebody will be appointed somewhere. If I'm close to the governor, I'm able to do some tenders and get paid very fast. If I'm close to the governor, I'm close to any department within the county. So those, if I'm close to the governor, I'm able to call shots. So almost 100% of the problems that we have, you will find these people, they campaigned so well. They were either brothers, they were even sisters, they were even a brother and sister. And, but once they get to the office, these interested cartels, they get hold of one of them. Another challenge, and this is also a threat to devolution in this country, is the issue touching on on wanting to succeed your boss when he or she is in the office.
I see. I was waiting for that.
The governor is in the office and is hearing his or her deputy somewhere promising things, what to do, what to be done, giving orders. You know, now you don't understand your place. Another problem is promises you agreed before you are picked. When you talk to many of these deputy governors, or sometimes many of the current governors, we were together in Mbunge, we are personal friends, leave alone the positions we hold, or we are business partners. When you sit, you also hear the issue of Governor came in, we had agreed this, but there is a betrayal. Instead, if you were to be appointed to a certain department or ministry, you are not given that ministry. And instead, you start getting frustrated on orders of that particular governor. Because in any leadership structure, let me tell you, if I'm the governor and you are my deputy, and you are seeing people around me trying to disrespect you, those orders, they are getting it from me. Or they are hearing my utterances towards you.
Yeah.
If I'm strict and I don't want to see anybody belittle my deputy, you will not see that nonsense. When you see some things happening somewhere, or you agree, let's do this, and when you try to follow, somebody's trying to block. That is the leader at the top who is trying to undermine you indirectly. So, going forward, it's a challenge. And the time has come, either for the country to make a decision. We do away with the deputy president position. We do away with the deputy governor's position. And instead, change the constitution, just in case of the removal of the governor or the president. Maybe the speaker of the National Assembly can act for a certain time before the country holds an election, as opposed to where it is now.
Okay.
Because currently, if the current president of Kenya, he or she resigns, or for one reason or the other is not the president, the deputies takes over, which also brings another issue, another security issue. If you have a deputy governor who is so powerful,
yes,
he or she might even start working on the downfall of the governor, so that you take over.
You know, DG, you raised some pertinent issues here, and if you've noticed again, all of us were pensively quiet listening to you, because what the deputies are facing across the country, you said over 95% of the deputy governors are facing a problem.
Yes.
And you're privileged enough to be in that position, and you're privileged enough to be the organizing secretary of the deputy governors forum. This also translates even to what happens to the deputy president. I may not be so sure about this, but Lucy, do you think there should be some form of fixing the constitution so that the deputy governors have a clear-cut job description, leave alone whatever is being given by the president? In the past, Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka, Honorable, was Minister for Home Affairs. So he had a portfolio way back then. This time around, the Constitution does not envisage such kind. Do you think there's a lacuna somewhere in the Constitution so that it can encapsulate the office holders, not the office, actually the office and the office holders?
I've always been for that.
Yes.
Change of constitution on that, because the biggest barrier on this is corruption in our country. These deputies, both DGs and deputy president, the manner in which they are elected, they are appointed, actually they are selected by whoever they are working with.
And there is a lot of negotiations
yes,
in between
it's
there.
not done.
Yeah.
It's not done the right way. One could have come with a lot of money, so you are picking somebody, not because even he has leadership qualities, because he has the money that will enable you to campaign.
Yes.
Others come as a result, kama huko kwetu, arrangements of clans, my clan, your clan to take this. So kwetu ni Isiolo.
I wanted to get it right.
Yeah, kwetu ni Isiolo. And not only there, those arrangements it could be because your clan takes this, your clan takes this, gender takes this, all those kind of arrangements. That means you are not a leader. You are just being picked to fill a gap. So that is also a problem because if you are coming in as a leader, that's where I'm saying corruption. Corruption, it's not the people who elected you. Like in the political party arenas, you have we're having elections. We have the chairman campaigning as a chairman. Then we have the vice chairman campaigning. It's competitive. We have several vice party leaders coming to compete. That is the way I would want the position of deputies to be done.
Yes.
Let them be competitive. Let them also sell their agendas. Let all the vice, let them even have no relationship with the governor. Yes, you come as the deputy of the people, and then we have clear roles of our deputies.
You're also proposing that deputy president should also campaign separately.
Yes,
okay. Because
that is how we get a leader.
Yeah.
That's why we understand. Because most of them I've also heard them talk. I almost became one. And what are you bringing on board? That is the question number one. So maybe my clan is saying maybe she should because of this and this and that. But people have not listened to you. They don't even know what you're going to do there. They just want you to go there so you can be driving home and say, we are happy to see our deputy Nietu anaenda nyumbani hivi. Then you find within a very short time the governor says, even compatibility has to be there.
Yeah.
So you are on this end, you are going this direction, I'm on this direction.
There's something he talked about, most deputy governors and deputy presidents.
Exactly.
It's about power.
Yes, it's about power.
Yeah.
And actually it's about power, and actually politics is about the division of resources. The others who come with these arrangements that tukiingia pale, mimi nimetoa hii pesa, then these positions are mine, these biasharas ni zangu. So when they go there and it doesn't work that way, they will start
Okay.
So the expectations are not met. So, and other times, and most of the times, again, why I said it's corruption, the DGs, the DPs, they are seen, you see them as a threat. This person is becoming, maybe they are more leader than you. So they become and then get more, the people like them even more. So you see them out there because their personalities there, and people feel, God, this one can make a good governor.
Yeah.
So they become threatened. So through that threat, that's why all this instability here, you take another one again. I said corruption. The MCAs want money. Maybe the governor, like Kawera, she doesn't want. Let's do the right thing. They want to be, people are used to stealing. If this stealing, corruption is made as the thing in the country, these positions will not even be lucrative anymore. Let me finish. Will not be lucrative anymore. If the CDF money, the Governance Education Fund, all these monies are put together as a country, of which we are talking about the education model, our students out there. We put all this money together. We have a free education like during Kibaki. Why do we need to give individuals money to go and distribute?
Okay.
Why can they be distributed? Corruption.
We are out of time. Thank you.
Yes.
Crispus, tumalize hii debate, because now it seems that the die is cast. Senate is going to have it, and we don't know what's going to happen next, sometimes next week. So what should we expect? More of, Mr. Speaker, this and that. But then now it's also important to note that Parliament voted for that proposal as a block. It's only the Senate which is going to vote clause by clause, charge by charge. So it's going to be different. What should you expect?
I think we need to look forward to the 11 grounds being interrogated individually, and the Deputy President and Parliament will have an opportunity to expound on what they felt is right or wrong with those grounds. And the Senate and the country will have an opportunity to really appreciate that whether Gachagua was right or wrong, or Parliament just alleged and was not able to prove. And we trust that Senate will probably make a decision that is more Solomonic, that will be able to heal some of the pains that this country has gone through over the last 72 hours, and maybe be able to understand what we are going through. But over and over is that the country will never be the same after this experience. I am just looking forward to Mashujaa Day, 20th of October. If we'll see Gachagua inviting the president to speak, or the president will just be there alone, would be a very sad set for our country.
Thank you so much, Deputy Governor, Machakos County, Francis Mwangangi. Asante sana.
Datika Moja, can I say something? It's 2 or 3 seconds.
Okay, Director, 3 seconds, starting now.
I think to our MPs, members of parliament, that is the National Assembly, in case CDF goes, let them look a way of getting another alternative to get monies from the center to the grassroots. That is the only way to transform this country. Let them not allow these NGCDF
go back before 2010 Constitution. Thank you so much.
My final word.
Yes.
I didn't give mine is.
My director is on my neck.
My expectation is the Senate is going to vote the same way, and the Gachagua is going to end up in court. And the master.
Thank you so much. Christopher Timba, asante sana.
Thank you so much.
Asante sana. Thank you for watching. I'm Victor Lo. Good morning. Bye-bye.
نسمع اسم النبي لازم نصلي عليه اللهم صل عليه.
Jema ambacho mja hufanya Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala humpa ajr mara 10, na kwa kila ovu ambalo analifanya mja basi Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala humpa adhabu 1.
Yaani mpaka inafikia pahali mwanadamu anaweza kavuka mipaka. Ndio ile Mwenyezi Mungu anasema innal insana la yatgha, hakika mwanadamu huvuka mipaka. Arraahu istaghna, anapoona Mwenyezi Mungu amemtajirisha, Mwenyezi Mungu amempatia kazi, Mwenyezi Mungu amempatia cheo, Mwenyezi Mungu amfanyia kadha na kadha na kadha, basi hujisahau.
Swala zote na salamu zimfikie Hashimu mwenye cheo kwa karimu.
Wananifurusha hapa, mimi nimelelewa hapa. Na wewe nani alikuambia kwamba hii nyumba ni ya babako?
Kaka. Saidiaje Kalum?
Una mashani ni mpenzi wangu.
Tumenita nini?
Unasema uongo baada ya machafu yote kakako aliyokufanyia?
Mimi kuna kitu sielewi kabisa, mimi sikuelewi.
Wala siko tayari kukuelewesha, umenisikia?
Mimi nimekuwa huko nje miaka mingapi? Mbona haikuwa aibu jamani?
The Still Doctor is a title earned by one Chris Odhiambo as a result of his prowess as a blacksmith with a specialization in steel.
Still Doctor ni jina nilipewa kikazi kulingana na kazi nilikuwa nafanya. So mafundi wenzangu walianza tu kuniita daktari. So mimi pia nikaona nitumie jina ya Still Doctor. Kitu ikikuja ngumu workshop, mimi nilikuwa napewa Still Doctor ifanyie hii. Na hiyo ikikuwa ngumu aje nini nafanya.
His story is an inspiring one. From a high school dropout to an established entrepreneur, an employer of more than 40 staff, he is writing a different story for himself.
After school, I dropped out kwa nikiwa form 3. Nikaenda Naivasha, kapata yule mwenye amekubali kunisaidia. Kwa relative kutoka nyumbani, alinifundisha hii kazi. From there nikakaa na yeye 6 months, nikapata anaweza tengeneza dirisha. Nikaenda Meru. From Meru nikakaa Meru for 5 years. Hapo 5 years nikiwa nimeajiriwa mahali moja. So hapo nilitoka na agent ya Still Doctor, sasa nikaanza kujiajiri mimi mwenyewe. Ukishakuwa mtu umefanyia mtu sana na ukapata wewe mwenyewe unajiweza. Kwa kile yule mtu anafanya, unaona wewe mwenyewe unaweza fanya. So niliamua mimi mwenyewe ninunue kama mashini kangu moja. After kununua mashini moja, naye nika-advisiwa na watu, ukiwa umetoka mahali unafanya, unaenda distance kidogo ili uache yule boss wako nafasi because wengi wanakujua. So niliamua kutoka Meru nikakuja hapa Ruiru. So far niko na watu 43. 15 ni wale ninawafundisha kazi. Alafu the balance ni wale wenye mafundi aswa.
We paid him a visit at his workshop and got to have a feel and gain an understanding of the steel business in the manufacturing sector. With his accomplishments in the industry, there are still a few things he is not pleased with. The fact that it is very hard for an entrepreneur like him to get government tenders to supply his merchandise.
My future is I just talk to government. Like mimi niko na youth around 43. Wengine tunasota, tunakosa job. Hawa vijana wanakaa kwa nyumba. Kila mtu simu, Still Doctor, kuna kazi. Sasa inabidi tunakaa nao hapa. Na ukienda kutafuta pale tenda kwa government, it is hard. So government kama wanaweza kufikia. Pia sisi talent yetu. Watu wengine wanaenda kununua Eurodolls from outside and we are making them here. The doors tunatengeneza hapa sisi wenyewe. They should promote them. Yeah.
And secondly, he says some people still prefer importing products from abroad, yet the same products are made here in Kenya. He gives an example of the Eurodough. He refers to his as the Kenyan dough as it is made here in our land with the same quality standard.
In one of the doughs, naona mkienda pale Europe nasema ati kuna Eurodough. Sisi tunatengeneza Eurodough hapa na watu wanazinunua. Watu wana import kutoka nje na tunatengeneza hapa. Materials zangu mostly na buy Central Kenya. Naitwa Central Auto iko industrial. Asa then pia wenye wako hapa within kama sina kazi kubwa niko na Neema hardware hapa nyuma. Sasa pale ndio nina at least huwezi kama mahali unakosa kupromote watu wa area. Yeah, but nikitaka big bulk saa zile kazi kubwa imekuja naenda Central. I have to promote Kenya because they are promoting me.
Over the years, he has progressively grown thanks to open-mindedness, creativity, and quick adoption to technology to make his work easier and better.
It is a long journey. So I see because sahi niko na from Meru, sahi niko na 5 years hapa. Na hiyo 5 years kwanza nilifungua workshop ya kwanza ikaanguka. Hapa Ruiru tu. It was not easy. Kwa nimeweka mashini zangu. Natembea hapa kutoka Ruiru mpaka Thika nikitembea workshops, kutafuta kazi. Kazi pia haiko. From there nikaona this is hard. So nikafungua online page yangu ya Facebook. Nikaanza kupost kazi zangu huko. Na watu wakaanza kunitia kazi. The first time nikianza kazi nilikuwa natumia akso kukata chuma, the blade. So nikapata akso, it is hard with the field. So nikaingia kwa hii teknolojia ya grinder. Najifundisha unakanyaga chuma, najikatia ikiwa hapo kwa ground such that ukienda kwa site kufanya kazi hausumbuki mahali pa kukata chuma. Ni kitu watu wangu wote venye wako hapa nimewafunza wamejua. Ukienda field, ukuweka chuma chini na square nakata. From another thing yenye nimesema kutoka kwa ile welding ya zamani, this type of finishing. Kutoka kwa finishing tuliintroduce kenye inaitwa powder coating. So powder coating we call it first class. First class, this is it. Shatengeneza hii hivi unapeleka kwa oven, inapikwa inatoka na final coat. Then we have a spray. Spray ndio zile za rangi zinatumika kwa magari. Tukishatengeneza dirisha tunaenda tunachukua rangi, tuna spray.
Kila wakati maisha ni muhimu. So kama maisha ni muhimu, lazima uweze kujikinga. Hii vile tu nimekuonyesha hii powder is such kind of very small particles za powder. Na mara mingi sana zinaenda na hewa. So zikienda na hewa, ukiweza kufanya kazi hapa ndani bila kuprotect your nose ama your breathing system, utaweza kuinhale hiyo hewa. Na hiyo hewa obvious lazima the particles lazima ziwe ziko na effect. So ndio maana tumekuadvise ukinunua machine, mwenye ana operate machine lazima iwe na hiyo nose mask.
Washington Onyango, a neighbor to the still doctor, owns a cutting-edge technology in his workshop called the CNC laser machine that helps with the fabrication process. This is mostly for the aesthetic value of the product, creating different designs pleasing to the eyes. This is the process that takes place.
Ile kazi tunafanya ni ya kutengeneza all kitu yote ambayo ina deal na chuma. Iwe dirisha, iwe mlango, gate, grills, roof, kitu yote ambayo ina deal na steel work. Tunafanya kazi ya laser fiber cutting machine, ambayo hii machine tunatumia kukata kudecorate balcon grill, staircase grill, and maybe pangola. Tunatumia decoration of a black sheet. Ile mabati tunatumia kuweka kwa staircase. Process ya kwanza ni mambo ya art. Hiyo kitu inachorwa kwa laptop, inatolewa kwa laptop, inaloadiwa kwa USB, inatoka from USB. Kuna code una generate ya ile code itaweza kuelewana na software ya machine, ndio machine iweze kurun. So unatoa from laptop to USB to computer ya machine. Then after hapo, once usha feed because the machine is computerized, ukisha feed kwa computer itaweza kuoperate tu yenyewe.
Unahitaji skills za engineering kidogo, unafaa kuwa unajua kuchora na CAD software. Ukishajua kuchora, hiyo ndio kazi kubwa. Process ya kwanza ni kuchora kwa machine. Ukishapata design, unaingia kwa laptop, unachora. After hapo unakuja una generate G-code, alafu unaileta inafidiwa kwa machine. Kuna software za kugenerate G-code kwa laptop. Inaitwa sheetcam. Ni kadhaa. Sheetcam ni moja yake. Ukisha generate unaleta hiyo kazi kwa flash disk hapa kwa machine. After hapo unakuja una load hapa. Hapo unaweza rotate, unaweza fanya editing zako vizuri zenye zinahitajika. Just a simple computer. Ile kitu muhimu ni software tu iko ndani. Inatumika ku connect drawing na ile kichwa. Kutoka hapo unaendesha machine. Unaendesha hapa ama utumie remote yake.
The powder coating is another important aspect in making classy doors, and they are the main reason Chris sees the need of having a workshop, because otherwise house calls are quite convenient and to some extent more profitable.
Hapa workshop ina base, mtu akitaka nimfanyie powder coating afanyie hapa, but ni kitu nje ninaenda nafanya, na hiyo ndio ninapenda kabisa, siwezi wacha. Like sasa tuseme hii ni one of mheshimiwa, siwezi mtaja. Though tunataka ile kitu mheshimiwa akiona ama ule mtu mwenye anapenda kitu mzuri inavutia. This gate hii ni chuma tu kawaida hapa Kenya. Ni chuma ya kawaida. Penye unaweza tengeneza hii gate ya kawaida ukiwa umekata chuma unaunganisha. The same thing we are doing here. But ni wewe tu mwenyewe unataka kurembesha, yani ufanye kitu yenye inavutia.
This is how it is in the steel business, and Chris has a bigger vision for the future.
It needs a lot of trust. Because you've just met with someone on Facebook. Akujui, ako US, mwingine ako Germany, ameona kazi yako kwa picha. When you explainia huyu mtu kazi ili upatane upate pesa, it's not easy. Venye mmeona nimefanya hii gate hapa. Nilikuwa nikishafanya gate, napiga picha, nikishapiga picha na post kwa Facebook. Then I joined groups kwa Facebook, Builders Kenya, Home Beautiful. Sasa kazi yangu nikifanya naweka pale kwa groups. And ina advert, buy material, we work at your doorstep. Because sikukuwa na pesa, hata sasa sina. But nilikuwa naona kifanya kazi, kiambia mtu buy material, we work at your doorstep. Unatembea watu wanakuita unawafanyia kazi nzuri. It make work easier. Because someone is in Migori na anataka service yako na anakuambia uko mbali. So naona tu kwangu ni rahisi, because nitaenda pale nimwandikie chuma kulingana na zile design amechagua, alafu namfanyia kiti yake hapo na ninaenda zangu.
His message to the young people is a simple one.
Siwezi ambia vijana it is not easy sana. You have to try unless paka ufike mahali still doctor sasa mfika. Na bado pia nataka nifike mbele kuliko hapo.
That is the still doctor. From a humble beginning that didn't define him to an industrious present, setting him up for a predictably strong, prosperous, and impactful future.
Since the invention of internet decades ago, the digital space has increasingly evolved. With this, teaching children basic computer skills has become important.
We live in a highly competitive world that is on the cusp of a digital revolution. This new world demands that our children are armed with the right skills that empower them to competently navigate the rapidly changing work environment. And to prepare them for the global stage, we have to introduce our children to the right digital tools at a very early age.
Kenya has placed considerable emphasis on the importance of ICT in its education sector support program. The Ministry of Education has taken steps to support the implementation of the strategy, either by direct action or through the various institutions and agencies with which it works. In addition, there are many other organizations not involved directly with the Ministry of Education that continue to be active in implementing and supporting projects involving ICT in education. There has been substantial evidence around the world that technology has become one of the most important and vital components to the success of a child's education. Although Kenya is known as the Silicon Savannah, this status needs continued pacing with technological innovation and stronger digital foundations. Scaling digital skills at primary, secondary, and tertiary education levels is a huge part of widening tech adoption and growing a lucrative digital economy. It can also help narrow the rural and urban development divide that limits collective advancement. In line with its bottom-up economic transformation agenda that emphasizes on the digital economy, the government launched the Coding and Computer Programming Curriculum for public schools through the syllabus approved by the Kenya Institute of Curriculum Development, KICD, and created in partnership with Codris Africa, an education technologies firm under the National Digital Master Plan. This will contribute to improving digital literacy among the youth and equip them with the necessary skills to compete in the digital economy. However, implementing digital literacy education in areas such as informal settlements presents substantial challenges. Kibera is an informal settlement. Rampant poverty in the Kibera slum is the source of numerous grievances and foundational inadequacies. Factors such as gender discrimination, crime, widespread unemployment, and inaccessible electricity feed the continuation of poor conditions in the slum. This does not allow them to acquire computer literacy despite their average level of formal education, as there is no money to pay for their training costs. This makes it difficult for them to be competitive in the labor market.
One organization in the informal settlements of Kibera has taken an initiative of teaching kids basic coding skills.
One, Renis Owino, has taken the initiative to eradicate digital illiteracy by teaching children in Kibera slums basic coding and computer-based skills.
Back in 2010, I lost my mom, and my dad, after the battle, my dad felt like since I was close to my mom, I needed a mother figure in my life, and he had suggestions of me coming to stay with my aunt for a while so that I don't, to try and fill in the gap. So back home, I was allowed to go to the cyber. All the cybers were like friendly. You could just go to the cyber and use it. But when I came to Kibera, it was different. The cybers were male dominated. And, you know, as a young girl going to a cyber which is full of men, it gave a different narrative to the community. So it wasn't me going to the cybers, I was being judged, and I wasn't even feeling comfortable in the cybers. So I sat down and thought, what if I created a place where girls could just come and browse and use the internet without being judged with the community or feeling threatened? Yeah, so I went back to school and the dream did not end. So after I completed my high school, I joined Nairobi Aviation College. My dad requested me to go and do just a simple course. Since I had done computer in high school, so my dad told me, as I was waiting for him to get more funds for me to join uni, it will be a great idea for me to do computer course at Nairobi Aviation. So I went and I did not enroll into a certificate program. I enrolled into a diploma. I did a diploma in ICT, and I focused, my main course was programming. That was something I focused on. Later on, during my college years, during my college period, I had female lecturers who were programmers, and this really made me feel nice about it. And now I started going back to my initial dream, creating a space where girls could just use computers.
Code with kids started as code with girls. But for Renis, she saw the importance of including boys also into the program to bring equality.
I started code with girls. Initially, it was code with girls, where I felt like since I was in college, we had still less number of females doing ICT, and I was like, if I start this code with girls and start teaching girls at a young age, by the time they're joining uni, they'll be comfortable in taking up such courses. When I started this again, I found so many challenges with code with girls, because the girls that I was targeting, the girls that I was teaching, sometimes they couldn't come for the sessions because I was doing it at Katokera in my aunt's place. They couldn't come for the session because either one, they were doing dishes, they were doing laundry, they were taking care of their siblings, and this became a challenge. And then I saw the problem I'm trying to solve is to bring more girls into ICT and to make everybody know that tech is not only for boys and men. Then I realized if I am to solve this problem, then I have to include both boys and girls in the same sessions.
For Eunice, teaching these kids how to do basic coding skills is preparing them for the future even as we head towards a technological world. Being an informal settlement where illiteracy might be high, some parents may not really understand what this program entails. With the recent form of education, competency-based curriculum, CBC, schools are now required to at least teach children basic computer skills. Code with Kids has partnered with some schools in Kibera to enhance this.
Currently, we offer after-school programs to different schools in Kibera. We have Soweto Junior Academy, where we train their young learners. So for Soweto, we work with kids from PP1, that is their PP1 until grade 4. We have Blessed Hope, where we focus on grade 5 and grade 6. We have Kibera High School, where we train the high schoolers. We have and Raila High School, where we train the high schoolers as well. Apart from that, we work with an organization called Smart Kibera of Hope, where we train their beneficiaries in science, technology, engineering, and math. One of the laptops that we use here is called the Kano PC. These are really child-friendly computers. They are touchscreen. They come with detachable keyboard, and it's easy to set. So here, it's like the motherboard of the laptop. It comes with the power. So if you want to use it, you have to connect the power. It's simple and easy to assemble, so very child-friendly. This is the speaker. So you just connect it, and then it has a clear casing. So this has really helped us as Code with Kids when we are training the kids how our computer works. We show them the different components that it consists of, and then it has this clear casing that also allows the kids to just look at it through here. So it's very easy to assemble. So once you've assembled it, it can be used like this as a tablet. But for us, we always encourage the kids to attach it to the keyboard so that it's easier for them to use. So this is like, it's set like this. It's completely like set like this.
Code Day is a non-profit providing welcoming and diverse opportunities for underserved students to explore a future in tech and beyond. Code with Kids celebrated this day by inviting several students from Kibera to learn coding skills. This includes Scratch program, robotics, and Python.
Nilianza na Tinka yenye natufunza kwanza kukode. Kaenda Scratch. Sai robotics. Ni fun, yeah.
I've learned how to use the Scratch app, whereby I can make stories and games by myself.
Blessed Hope Child Center is one of the beneficiary schools that Code with Kids offers after-school program to the students. John Owok, a teacher, explains the importance of this program to their students.
Coding has really been of help, one, to our institution because it has broken the monotony that we've had of learners constantly being in class and doing the same thing over and over again, but also getting out the best of the learners in terms of improving their social interaction, their group engagements. So we feel that with coding, one, It has brought some level of cohesion within the learners and them understanding each other by their abilities and supporting each other in the process, but also allowing them to appreciate each other.
Mama Patricia has seen much improvement in her daughter since she started learning how to code.
As advice wazazi waache watoto wao, especially kama maybe midterm holidays wakiwa kienda hiyo kucode ama coding, naona inasaidia watoto wengi sana.
Salome Ratemo, a volunteer at Code with Kids, emphasizes on the importance to teaching coding skills.
My advice to the parents is to allow your kids to join coding-related clubs, especially girls, since the tech is presumed to be a male-dominated field.
Implementing digital literacy in Kenya's education system is essential to prepare students for the future workforce. To ensure that all students have access to digital literacy education, the government must invest in infrastructure and teacher training. Additionally, private sector partnerships and technology integration can further enhance digital literacy in Kenya's education system. By working together, we can equip all students with the skills they need to thrive in the digital age.
For these kids, learning how to code is a sign that the future is bright. Like they say at Code with Kids, there's a place in tech for everyone.
Air pollution might not be a major concern to most of us, but it is among the leading causes of death in Kenya, and especially right here in Nairobi. The World Health Organization estimates that 19,000 people die annually from air pollution. Today we shift our focus on transport air pollution, its effects on the environment, and most importantly, its effects to you and me, and generally the human life. Transport is one of the biggest contributors to air pollution, and it affects health in many ways, both positively and negatively. Some of its benefits include access to education, employment, goods, services, and leisure, as well as incorporating physical activity into daily living. The transport sector, however, has its setbacks when it comes to the human health and climate change. For instance, air pollution, noise pollution, obesity, greenhouse gas emissions, and injuries. In this case, transport air pollution is one of the leading risk factors for death, but its impacts go even further. And according to Dr. Mwaniki, a climate change expert, air pollution is one of the main contributors to global disease burden.
Air pollution has many impacts. The main concern is its impact on health. Some of the biggest issues is things like asthma, heart diseases, stroke. It has also been linked to premature stillborns, and also some forms of cancer, and also diabetes. So it's linked to a lot of diseases. And why this is the case is because when you breathe in that air, the way God made your system. If you eat dirty food, the stomach has acids and a way of getting rid of those elements that get into the food system. Same thing with water, but when you breathe in dirty air, the system did not evolve or was not created to live in polluted areas. So when you breathe in dirty air, it goes straight to your lungs, and then from the lungs, it penetrates to the bloodstream. So there is no protection mechanism. And because different chemicals are usually in the air, so once they get in the bloodstream, then they affect different organs differently. And that's why you hear it has these very wide health impacts. In the short term, when you breathe that air, you might feel wheezing, coughing. Those are the immediate impacts when you're in a smoky house. But when you're in a room like this or walking around the city, you might not experience those short-lived impacts. But once you breathe those chemicals that get into their bloodstream, then later on they'll have some impact to your health.
To some extent, transport pollution leads to effects on mental health, including risk-taking and aggressive behaviors, depression, and the post-traumatic psychological effects of accidents, which shortens life expectancy. In prenatal, air pollution leads to reduced growth. At birth, it leads to decreased lung growth, reduced lung function, lower respiratory infections, and developmental effects. Air pollution concentrations on roads are relatively high, and commuters face unavoidable exposure during commuting as they are near the sources of emissions.
When a car passes through you, where you are seated or walking, you see the smoke, you smell the gasoline. Transport sector contributes around 40 to 50% of pollution in Nairobi. And the main reason is because there are very limited regulations on how to maintain vehicles.
Transport air pollution plays a major role when it comes to climate change.
Air pollution has a couple of pollutants that also do drive the climate system. And they're called the short-lived climate pollutants. These includes particulate matter, things like ground level ozone, NO2, which is more of an air pollution, but because of atmospheric processes, it does lead to formation of ozone. We do have other things like black carbon, which is an air pollutant, is a particulate, but also is a major driver of air pollution.
Greenhouse emissions, which could result from human activities such as burning fossil fuels and deforestation, release gases like carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, hydrocarbons, among others, which have been proven harmful to the human body and the environment into the atmosphere, trapping the heat from the sun, hence causing global warming, which contributes to both health issues and climate change with severe temperature changes. There are several strategies we can, however, apply to curb transport air pollution. For instance, promoting public transportation, which includes the use of buses, trains, and subways, which in turn reduces the number of individual car trips and lowers emissions. Active transportation, which involves walking and cycling, is another step toward reducing transport air pollution, not only in Nairobi, but across the country. The Kenyan government has put in effort towards transitioning to electric vehicles, which is a move that will help reduce emissions and also help curb the risk of transport air pollution. Efficient urban planning is another key strategy, as it involves designing cities to minimize travel distances, integrate residential, commercial, and recreational areas to reduce the need for long commutes. Building climate change resilient infrastructure or investing in infrastructure that adapts to changing climate conditions would also be a possible solution to address the transport changes in Kenya. Remember, let's unite to clear the air, safeguarding our health and the generations to come.